Story changes for low to zero carb.
We all have stories, trillions of them. Most are supportive, some are not. And when the story supports the goal, we get really, really happy because they match. When they don't match, the story just isn't supporting what you want to achieve. And sadness happens. But together, you and I can help turn sad into happy by changing the story. Helping everyone get to the finish line.
Contact JoannaRuth via her website or at contact@joannaruth.online.
Story changes for low to zero carb. Change your story to change your life. Hi, I'm JoannaRuth, and I want to talk to you about what happened to me. How am I qualified? Well, my education was intensely practical and pragmatic, as well as spiritual. I am 52 years old now, and I have been on the search for my complete wellness for over 20 years. I'm very proud to now say I have finally found all of the blocking stories and am now realizing my goals. The last discovery, and most physically influencing, was just in February 2025 this year. It's still keeping me wide-eyed and excited. I've been on the low-carb sliding scale since 2015, and I've been eating carnivore since 2019. Yet I couldn't get my physiology to behave normally. Only since February 2025 have I been able to fast, to eat normal proportions, and to eat according to clear and clean signals of the truth. I've managed to drop 20 kilograms in the past 3 months, February, March and April, via some very normal carnivore strategies. Carnivore has saved my life at least twice before this time, but it could never beat the battle against my nervous system and its horde of hormones. It could never address the issue of obesity and lipedema. Not for me. Until the beginning of February 2025. Well, what happened for me in February? I had become desperate enough to ask my deeper self what was blocking me from each and every carnivore strategy. I asked the right question and I received the truth in return. In an instant, I knew that the old story was now a lie, and yet it was once a truth. In that moment, I started subconsciously telling myself the actual truth in a new story without any willpower or pushing. I began fasting, and I began to learn the truth of my food thoughts and signals. And slowly I realized how skewed my signals were before. This is what I assist others to do, which saves them doing 20 years of learning and self-development and struggle. I am their fast track. Who do I want to help, and where are they? Well, I want to help the people who are trying so hard and still not getting any results. I want to help those who can't integrate the information or follow the instructions. I want to help the people who can't be motivated from their negative state. And I want to help the people who are hanging on by a thread. I want to help the people who are about to leave support communities because they are believing their results, their poor results, are proof that it just doesn't work for me. And I also want to help the people who have already left their chosen support communities. These people, they are or were with you in your service. Locating the hidden stories. This is what I specialize in. These hidden stories are blazingly obvious to me, but not so much to other people. I can hear them in people's language, see them in behavior, and I can feel them in a way a person speaks about something that's troubling them. I know the signs, and I'm able to help others understand the connection between the story and the results. Because if you do change your story, you will change your life. I have gained my deep understanding via my own experiences and studies that are outside of academia, as well as being a teacher of adults for over 20 years before developing a coaching practice. Like in the physical wellness industry, there are many issues that remain not dealt with society-wide, which is the same in the mental wellness industry. There is an overlap between these two areas of life. It's overlooked by almost everyone due to not knowing an effective solution. There are 3 stages, which I identify, of self-selection. Saying this doesn't work for me. Stage 1 is information isn't being integrated. So there are 3 stages in which a person is at risk of self-selecting. This doesn't work for me. It can be when the information is understood in the moment but not integrated enough to be effective in a person's life. Actually, they just get confused later on. This creates a mental conflict, and it may, for that person, create hormonal turmoil. We all know that this is far from ideal. This state or feeling in the body can encourage this person to come to a new truth, that this just doesn't work for me. And this is a lie, masquerading as truth, because we all know it works for everyone. But if there's a story stopping the integration of information, their proof, their results, is that it just won't work for them. Often being part of a supportive community will help the person slowly alter some stories, reinforcing the new and allowing the old to fade away, although not everyone stays in the community long enough to gain this effect, which to me is a great shame. The second stage of self-selection is where instructions are not applied. The second stage of risk is the actioning of instructions. A person can understand the information and know the instructions too, yet they just can't get themselves to follow the instructions. There are excuses disguised as reasons for why something else must occur. We all know that you must action the instructions to get yourself to the results. No amount of external motivation can win this battle against a story that throws out excuses that seem so very reasonable to the person trying to change. This stage feels so very sad to me, and I suppose once upon a time I was in the confusing mix of the story myself. A person will observe their inability to parent themselves and decide a new truth, that they are a failure, and therefore this new strategy won't work for them. They are not the failure. The failure is not yet finding and focusing on the story with the intention to learn the real truth. The story blocks their goals by sending them sneakily in other directions. If a person is connected to a support community, perhaps if they're shown the value of finding this blocking story, they may stay the distance, heal themselves and rave at how this new way of living is as amazing as it truly is. The final stage of risk is what happened to me, stage 3, where support is just not enough. I was a dedicated carnivore who could not get below 120 kilograms for years, while I did exactly the same actions as I do now. This was some kind of set point I had created along my timeline. I am now easily sitting at 98 kilograms, so what made the difference? The blocking story, for me, allowed integration of information and the application of instructions, but no matter what I did, my hormones were disrupted by anxiety and my perceptions were skewed. I was suffering from a blocking story which was not going to let me have the health issues for which I yearned for 40 years, no matter what I did. I pushed, the story pushed back harder. The only solution was to find the story, which was causing me a problem, and debunk it. That is what I did at the beginning of February. For the average person who does not understand how their psychology could possibly be more in charge of their body than their conscious decision making, this situation is rather fatal. The benefits of this new way of living are known to them, and the how-tos are being actioned, but there must be something wrong with them because they just don't get the results. I was very close to that conclusion. The only understanding that saved me from concluding that I am just too broken is how much experience I've had altering my stories over many years, always seeing a positive change. My singing voice would improve, my memory would be more reliable, my anger would not rise, my ability to love others without conditions became easy, and my natural state of truth emerged. These are all examples of positive change which I have created by finding a blocking story and discovering its lies that were still telling me that they were true. All examples of my proof. If a person walks away from a support community with a conclusion like this, they won't come back, nor join another. They will live with this lie, believing it's true, and not have any impetus to resolve it. And this saddens me very greatly. I want to help those people so they can come back to you and find their success. If you change your story, you will change your life. Feel free to contact me via email, contact@JoannaRuth.online, or you can find out more on my website, JoannaRuth.online/coach-counsel.